Good morning. I'm Vicki Westling here with City Speaks. City Speaks is a show that's brought to you by Mayor Rosas and his administration. It's here to provide our residents with what's going on with the city of Dunkirk, with Mayor Rosas' administration, and what's happening throughout our city, throughout our town, all the good things that are going on. And today we're at the Adams, what was once known as the Adams Art Gallery. We have with us Matei Dennis and William Haskas. So, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for all your efforts. Thank you for everything you're doing. We also have with us Mike Civiletto. Mike has been instrumental and involved in the restoration of the art gallery for quite a few years now. So, guys, let's go inside and see what's going on.
Let's do it. Sounds good.
As we come into the art gallery, or into Adams now, it's quite different than the way it used to be 10 years ago when I used to participate in it. So tell me a little bit who you are, how you got involved, and what are your long-term goals for this?
I'm going to turn that one over to Matei.
So we came to Dunkirk a couple of years ago, brought here by Skeeter Tower, who's been great in the community, and she first walked us through the Adams 2 years ago when it was in much worse shape than what you're going to see today. Me and William have an architecture practice in Brooklyn, and we deal with communities and working with communities to create spaces and programs that aren't just architectural spaces, but are parts of the community and that help communities grow. And when we saw this space, we realized that a building like this isn't going to come by every year. And if it falls down, it's not going to get replaced with anything comparable. So we really felt a duty and a responsibility to help bring it back to life.
And you mentioned Skeeter Tower. Skeeter has just been an absolute pillar of this community, and she's been so involved. Now, you talk about bringing it back to life. As I look around, I see it looks like there's a lot of work that needs to be done. We talked about the different phases that you were going through. Who wants to tell me about them?
Sure. I think it's pretty simple. There's an idea that the building had been completely abandoned. And in that abandonment, the building literally did its best to stay alive. But when you have the water infiltration and freeze-thaw cycles for the number of years that it was exposed to, not even the most well-crafted building could withstand that. So the first phase was really called stabilization, which made sure that the building would live longer. Patching the roof, removing the debris that had been creating a lot of internal problems for the building. That's complete. Now we're in what's the renovation phase. The renovation phase is the process of bringing the building back to what everyone remembers, the beauty of the building. And that part is going to be a process. It's not going to happen in 1 year. It's not going to happen in 2 years. It's going to take some time. This is a public project that will need the support of so many different people that it's the kind of the beauty of what makes the Adams the Adams.
And you talk about the support. Now, I know that there have been there's funding through the CDBG for the roof. There's partial funding for that. You also depend on volunteers. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. There have been so many volunteers that have come and done physical labor, have helped us file paperwork that needed to be filed. We've had volunteers from NCCF that have supported this project from day one. They've been absolutely outstanding. The Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation. The city has been absolutely brilliant in helping us. And then so many folks, and actually that's how we met Mr. Civiletto. One day he came by, heard that we were in town, we were looking at the Adams, and it's been a really great friendship since day one. So that's the kind of stuff that we're excited about.
So we have a board that's in charge of pretty much what we're doing, right? And the board members consist of how many people?
We have a 6-person board right now. William Haskas is the president. I am the treasurer. We have a gentleman, Alex Guzman, who is the secretary. And then Mike Civiletto, Alberto Ray, and Rich Alexander.
Okay, now are you looking to expand the board, or is the board pretty much the way it is?
We've been slowly expanding, so we brought Michael and Alberto on about a month or two ago. We just added Rich Alexander this month, and we will continue to grow. We're looking for a diversified board, an active board that is not here just to sort of pad their resume, but to actually do work. We're not saying, fix the roof, but to be involved and to help make this place what it can be.
Sorry to interrupt. Why don't we go inside the gallery? Because I'd like to talk about the point of the board and understanding the project a little bit more in depth. And the gallery would be a great space for everyone to see.
Okay, that's what. Let's go ahead. Let's go inside there. You guys lead the way. Okay, so now we're into the main area of the Adams, and I'm going to hand you the microphone, so I want you to just tell me everything that's going on or whatever you think is important here.
Sure. So I'd like to sort of take a step back and talk a little bit about the idea of the board and the project itself. I think it's worth noting that what makes a project like this so fun and so interesting is that it impossibly cannot be done by 1, 2, or 3 people. It takes an enormous network of folks at different levels. And if you look at projects in major cities or even smaller cities, the most successful ones happen because of a community or an organization of people that come together at different times and different moments to make it successful. Success for us is measured by the number of visitors that come through the front doors. So whether the building is completely renovated or not right now is a little bit irrelevant. We count success by every time somebody signs their name on the sign-in sheet. And that's really important to us. Some people can't physically lift dirty drywall. Some people can't shovel out muck. Some people aren't so good with form work. However, just coming to events is such a tremendous thing that would help us. Because when we apply for grants and we apply for funding, those are the things that we can point to and say, hey, last year we had this number of visitors, we had this number of people that came through. So projects like this are unique because it's not just about the bricks and the mortar, it's not just about the money, it's about the people who believe in something a little bit bigger and want to be a part of it.
Now, you've been here for, 2 years, right? About 2 years you've started this project. What are the types of events that you have had already? What kinds of things have you displayed? And how many visitors have you had, roughly?
So we've had several types of events. We started off with a art show, a more traditional art show by the North Shore Arts Alliance. And they brought their artists in and showed their work. We've had several performances. Suni Fredonia, a student from there, came down and did Shakespeare. We did Bach and Beer, which is a musical series. We had a circus cabaret. We've done also community events. We did a holiday market. We did a hockey tournament, street hockey tournament outside. So what we like to keep doing is that sort of variety of events, not just hanging art on the wall, though that's a big part of it, and we're really excited. Next month we're doing a drawing show with about 25 international artists that will be showing their work here, so we will continue that kind of work, but we'll also continue to do performances. The Circus Cabaret will be back in town, we hope. And also start doing educational programming. This Tuesday, we'll be doing I guess this airs on Thursday, sorry. We're doing a wood workshop about sort of the work that we do here, and we'll be continuing a series of learn hows throughout the summer and into the fall. So we want to do a variety of events that bring in a wide cross-section of people, not just people that are interested in art and things. We want to continue to engage the community and bring as many people through as possible, including children and adults and the underserved.
Okay, so now when you have these various events that you're going to be, whether they're a performance or a street hockey or whatever they may be, certainly send that information to our Dunkirk Access 1301 and we'll make sure that it's up. Because we also, the city really the city administration, Mayor Rosas, he really cares about the arts. And certainly we have Mr. Civiletto here who really wants to make sure that our residents know what's going on. I mean, when we drive by, we just see a building under construction. And we want to, we want our people to know we're not just under construction. We still have things going on. There's still some life here. So it's happening. So send that to us and make sure that we get it up. So let's talk about, you've talked about the variety of events. You've talked about, the hanging the artwork on the wall, the street hockey, the different things for the children. This past weekend, you had a barbecue, right? So these are the kinds of things that are important for our residents to know and for you to know. Now, Mike, is there anything as a member of the board that you wish to add to this?
Just really that the community support is the thing that we need. I came on kind of on the coattails of William and Matei. It's something that I saw a need for as far as a space downtown. We continuously hear we'd like more things to do in Dunkirk, and this just adds to all of the festivals and the events and the races and the things that we have here, and it just creates a community fabric that you can get involved with, and that's really what we need. Matei and William have graciously come here from Brooklyn, and they come here, and they can't be here all the time. And some of us can be. So that's what we need is community support. Reach out to me. Reach out to if you know Rich Alexander or Alberto. Please reach out to us and ask if you can help or ask about different things that we're doing here. And if you have events that you want to do, we can most certainly give you a tour of the space and see if that would work. And hopefully the more community involvement we have, that's what's really going to make the Adams successful.
And so basically we've talked about your intent is to restore the integrity of the Adams, number one, as far as the building goes, the functionality of it, certainly, and to talk about where we want to go from here. So people need to know that we do have this available to us. And you're talking about a cultural space. And when we talk about culture, that is a wide gamut. That covers a huge expanse. So we talk about culture. What are you planning to do in the way? I know at one time they would do wine and cheese book signings here. Are you planning to do those types of things as well?
So I'd like to start off with a slogan that we developed over time, and that is, the Adams is not an art gallery. It's moving into a phase where it's more dynamic, it's more diverse, film festivals, theater festivals, performances, acrobatics, circuses. The idea is that the space itself is unique. If we really think about what other spaces are like this in the area, 30-some foot ceiling, the width and the length of the space accommodates a whole host of different activities. So for us, we are approaching the project in a way that we feel it's a very simple process. One is we want to keep the wheels moving in programming. We want children, we want students, we want adults to be able to come in and enjoy the space. Simultaneously, almost like the Wizard of Oz effect, behind the black curtain, we're going to be fixing up the building. We're going to be trying to take the pieces that are still exposed to the elements and restore them and bring them back. So for example, a really simple thing is the water that gets into the building currently. A.W. Farrell, we're working with them on an idea of replacing the roof this year, which would be incredible, because every little drop of water that comes into the building finds its way either into the wood, either in behind the block, separates the blocks so they begin to fall apart, they begin to erode, and that's the stuff that we know we need to fix, but we really want to focus on the program. We really want to focus on the activities that are happening here. We really want to focus on someone coming along, and we had someone come along and say, hey, could we have a wedding in the space, right? Could you imagine having a wedding in this space? So hopefully that will come to fruition. Obviously they'll have some choices. We had someone come up to us and say, hey, we want to start doing classes in here for yoga. amazing. Could you imagine every morning having 20-some folks on this floor stretching? It would be brilliant. That's the thing that Michael's talking about, is people that have ideas, they're looking for a space, and how do they come and activate this building? And that's what we're hoping people will do.
Okay, so we talk about getting people involved. Who should they contact? How do they contact you? What do they do? Because you guys are in Brooklyn. So is there a website? Is there an email address? What do people need to know, or how do they need to get in touch with you if they want to do one of these things or some of these things?
Sure. Yes, we have a website. We have a social media presence. We are theadamsny.org. That's our website. On Facebook, we're active. We're also the Adams NY, and you can always stop by. We might not be here, but we have a mail slot. You can slide your name, your business card through there. We do have a local presence. Michael Civiletto, Alberto Ray, and Rich Alexander are all based in the Dunkirk, Fredonia area, so you can reach out and contact them. And we have an email address, info@theadamsny.org as well. So there are many ways to reach out to us, and we'd be excited to hear from anybody in terms of what they'd like to do in the space, how they'd like to help, any questions. So yeah, Can I just for a second?
So when we were developing our social media presence, Matei had the idea of switching the name from the Adams Art Gallery to the Adams. And I think it was a brilliant idea, because the idea of keeping it really simple, the Adams. This is what this place is, the Adams. And NY, because we're in New York, theadamsny.org. It's about this place, it's about our community, it's about our state, it's about growing from inside out. Dunkirk is an incredible city that has so many great assets. And sometimes when I come here, I think, why haven't I moved here yet? And the reality is, theadamsny.org.
So does that mean we can look forward to having you as one of our residents? That would be great. So we look around, and there is a lot of work to be done. You all certainly enlist the help of volunteers to come and help do the work. So if someone wants to become a member of the Adams, is that one of the things that you're going to do? I mean, prior to, like I said, 10 years ago, you actually paid dues to be an annual member of the Adams Art Gallery. So if I wanted to become a member of the Adams NY, I would do that same thing, right? I would contact you and contribute in that manner. Is that correct?
Yeah, we just started doing an inaugural membership drive, and what that says is that I was on the ground floor. I, as an inaugural member, believed in this space, believed in the people, believed in the community, and for $20, you can at some level be one of the founding members of this great space. And we also have business sponsorships. We have individual memberships beyond that. But I think it's really important for you to join and be an inaugural member, because that shows the support of the community for this space. And you can get onto the website and you can become a member through there.
Okay, so if I were to go to theadamsny.org, which is the website, I could become an inaugural member for as little as $20. So every dollar counts. We know how important that is. So all of you out there watching, if you want to be a member of the ground floor of the Adams, join us. Do it. Oh yeah, right. $20 is a nice amount, but we'll take 1,000 or two, right? Right. So now, you're working, you've got things going on, things are happening. Do you want to walk around? Do you want to take a look at what's happening here? And show some of the work. Obviously, we see some of the damage that has happened, but we also know there's some good things going on. Okay? For instance, our in the back we have, this is being restored or trying to be restored. Is that correct, Matei? You had told me about that before.
Fortunately, the mural was spared most of the damage. It's from the church, from when it was a Unitarian church, and the water damage didn't come down to it. So we're working with an art restorer in New York who's going to look at it to see how to best clean it and save it. But I think it's a vital part of the history of this building. It's a beautiful piece of work, and we're excited about keeping it, and the fact that it was sort of spared the majority of the damage. Unfortunately, some of the other areas were not so fortunate. So we will sort of through time be working to replace the whole ceiling. This floor in the back was received significant damage, so that'll need to be replaced. But it's a step-by-step process that will take several years. But I think we're all confident that if the level of support that we've been seeing in our first years continues to grow, I think that this place will be back up to its original beauty, sooner than later.
Okay. And now I see back here you've got your Adams. What would you like to happen at the Adams? So now, are we still asking for suggestions? If you still have things going on, you still want to know about it, they would contact you and let you know. Correct?
Correct. There's also a link on the website on the events page that is sort of an open call where people can sign up and give suggestions for what they'd like to see, or they can contact us directly with their ideas, and we're more than happy to work with people to have their events here, because that's really what we want. We want this to be a space that's that the community feels ownership for. We don't see this space as our space. We see this building and this space as Dunkirk's space and the community's space. So we really want that engagement from the community. We're trying to reach out. We're doing events, but we also want the community to come in and do their own events and have birthday parties, weddings, wine and cheese, meetings, whatever they want. That's what this space is. It's a unique space, and we don't want to keep that to ourselves. We want to be able to share this space with the whole community.
Vicki, could we show you the damage that's happened to the building?
Absolutely.
Come on over.
So this is significant. When I look at this, from the water coming in, and it is really kind of a lesson. This is what happens if you've got a leaky roof. You ought to fix it.
Yeah, so we were talking a little bit before about the problems that exist. So when you take a simple look at the damage to the roof, right, the first phone call that's made is to a roofer. And the roofer comes in and says, okay, this is how we can patch the roof, and we start taking care of that. Then what you start to realize is that all the water that's been coming in over the years is creating another layer of damage. So then you start calling some other folks, and I really want to make a plug here for some of these great people. One is Kevin with A+ Plumbing, absolutely fantastic individual who's helped us not only with the plumbing, he's helped us secure electricians, he's taught us a little bit about things that we should be looking for. Vecchio Heating, they came in and turned the power or the heat back on for us so that we could have events here in the wintertime. And basically what you're seeing is, as the water comes down, it's almost like a small Niagara Falls inside of our building. We've stabilized it for the most part, but you can see the plaster damage that's been done, the peeling off of the space. The mold levels in this building were so intense when we first came in, we were instructed not to be inside the building. We've now reduced those levels significantly that people can be in here. We actually have the same mold level count inside as outside in the street, so that's really the goal.
So it's a lot of work, and it is a team effort because, like you say, you have what you call for the roofer, and then they just tend to domino. You get the domino effect. Everybody else has to come in to help. So how long before you think this part will be repaired or restored, or at least the main room.
What do you think, Matei? We have a little bit of time, right?
Yeah.
So the interesting part is that you know, as an architect, you get to work with a lot of different people. And that's part of the process, from architects to contractors to engineers. And I think the idea here is that I've worked with a lot of people, none that have the tenacity that Matei has. And this guy came in and you know, he didn't see a black tarnished building, he saw a great opportunity. And I looked at Matei and I said, you know, okay, what do you think? And you know, Matei has over 20 years experience working on projects all over the world. And I said, okay, with your experience and my experience, we have over 40 years of architectural experience between historic preservation, urban design, residential construction, new construction, commercial, and cultural. It's not a plug for us, but the point is that if we saw the possibility that this place could become some community asset, it's not that far-fetched. It's really simple.
So a lot of it depends on you, Matei. So what are we talking about here? Another year?
I think that might be a little optimistic, Vicki, just because there are other priorities. I mean, we are very fortunate to be working with Farrell. We will get the roof fixed in the fall, which is obviously the #1 priority. And once that happens, we can start to think about sort of restoring the interior. What we've been able to do is to do a lot of the work ourselves with volunteers, and that has helped keep the cost down, because to redo all this plaster work, to redo it, it would be a significant cost to bring a contractor in. So our hope is to continue to that model where we work with local professionals and local volunteers in sort of tandem to keep the cost down to where it's manageable, but that sort of extends the timeline a little bit. And we also, when we came in here, we didn't want to keep this place shut until the galleries was completely closed. We didn't want to sort of deny the city the opportunity to have this space until it was a perfect space. And that's the model we're going to continue on. We have a ground floor space that still needs a lot of work, that needs to be fixed up for it to be usable. That's going to be our main education center. That's where we're going to have a lot of our teaching programs. And we want to do that. We want that opportunity to be there for us and for the community as soon as possible. So our priority is to have as much programming here as possible. Once the roof gets fixed, you know, then we can also start to look at what the timetable, what the costs are for, you know, putting new plaster up.
I just want to, there's one point that is really important to us that we haven't really addressed, and I think it's on this note here with the work that needs to be done, is that the idea of the atoms as a generator for cultural capitalism is really the model that we're looking at. And what that means is, as work needs to be done to the building, what we do is we go out and we try to find funds through grants, through public and private opportunities. That money comes into the building, and then it immediately goes back out into the community, to the local contractors, to the local workers, to the supply shops. Ad Lumber has been incredibly helpful to us. That we buy all of our supplies there, or most of our supplies there. And the idea that the money, this building, it's not, things aren't coming into this building and staying in here. It's not an insular institution. The Adams is a dynamic public space that the people of Dunkirk own. We are merely the stewards moving this thing from its past to the present into the future.
Wow, well, that's really great, and we appreciate that. Now, you are both from Brooklyn, so how often are you here?
We spend about a week every month here to steward the ship, but we have a great team on the ground here with Mike Civiletto, who has been both a board member and a caretaker, with Alberto and Rich, that sort of guide us and sort of navigate the local scene for us. And the volunteers that we've had, Skeeter has been amazing. We have a gentleman, Patrick, that's been mowing our lawn. So we have a presence here. The space isn't about me and William. It doesn't need us here every day to stay open and to move forward. We love coming up here. We come up here because of the opportunity that it provides us to be a part of a rich community and to grow a cultural space in a city like this, which is a unique opportunity and something that we love to do.
Okay, so you're here about 1 week out of each month. The Adams is definitely a living, breathing operation, if you will. Not only are things going on, but you're in the process of restoring it at the same time. So it isn't just one thing happening. I mean, it's a lot of things happening in concert with one another. So we're so glad to have you here. We're so happy that the Adams is coming back to life, because that's what it really needs to do. So thank you for your service to our community, to our residents, to our citizens, and to all of you out there. Please don't hesitate. Join the volunteers. If you've got a talent, if you've got some things you can do, let them know. Go to theadamsny.org and sign up. Become a donor. Become a volunteer. Get things happening. What other kinds of things do you guys feel like are important for our residents, for our citizens to know?
That's a great question, because you have amazing beaches, you have an amazing waterfront, the pier, you have Central Ave, which has some of the most beautiful storefront architecture that I've seen in the state. You have incredible brand new performing arts center at the college, the Rockefeller. You have a network of really interesting architectural gems hidden throughout the city. And as we drive around and as we walk around more, the houses are absolutely breathtaking. I mean, some of this is, one might say, oh, you see this all the time in Brooklyn. Maybe, but not like this. And I think the idea of this project that is really important is connecting it all. Not physically, not a bridge or not a pathway, but to show that a project like this in concert, in support with all the other great things that are happening, right? So I think the one thing that you can't take away from Dunkirk is the waterfront. Right. It's phenomenal. And the fact that we're only a few blocks away from that waterfront, the fact that one could walk from the pier to the Adams and have an ice cream and a slice of pizza and make the walk on a nice day and see some friends and folks, that's what we're talking about. Imagine a place where everyone's walking again. Yeah. Imagine there's a place where we're all moving about to really exciting things that are happening in our community. That's what we see. That's what I see.
Well, thank you. That's wonderful. That's what I see. And I believe that's what many of our residents see. And I know that's what we're working toward, certainly our Central Avenue and the pier and all the things in between. So thank you both. Thank you so much. Please let us know what you're doing. Send that information to DunkirkAccess.com. Let us know what's going on. You can email me, vwestling@cityofdunkirk.com. If you have something you want to have up on the Dunkirk Access channel, we can do that as well. So, absolutely. So, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. We appreciate all that you're doing. And let's make the Adams back the way that it should be. Okay? So that's great. And thank you for watching City Speaks. Join City Speaks. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you like. If you have a question, if you want something for the mayor to answer, let me know that. Send an email, vwestling@cityofdunkirk.com. Give me a call, 716-363-6888. Send snail mail to me, Vicki Westling at Central Avenue, Dunkirk, New York. And join us, like us on Facebook, tweet us, follow us. Thank you, and have a great day.